How y'all doing out there today? Okay, we're gonna make some announcements. One, how was y'all feeling that last song? Let's not forget those are our tones. Let's not forget those are our tones. That CD is available in the back, so anybody who wanted to be signed by Cartech, the Lioness album is in the back. So please support. Any females and males 48 or older who are interested in becoming an elder on the Supreme Grand Council of 24 Elders, please meet Kamtek M. Hatar Atunreye at the end of the class. Okay, we're going to start today with the lesson of today. It's called the All of All. 1. I, Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, have these words for you, my beloved children, jewels of my heart, Nuwapians of Unuwap. Our reason for coming back to this planet is to recover our seed on old Mother Earth, the blue water planet, our long lost, yet not forgotten offspring. 2. Now please let me depart to you that which is about you. You are 24% the black matter of the 100% of this one universe, expanding of the 76% of black energy. 3. You are the carbon of life, the black coal, atomic number C6. And physical, you are the atomic number H1, hydrogen, that heated up to become the atomic number H2, helium. You are the atomic number N7, nitrogen. You are the atomic number O8, oxygen. These are and were the original elements needed for this form of life. And they as H1, H2, C6, N7, and O8 equals 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 equals 24 for the planet Earth and the 24 genomes. These 5 elements have their physical base in the black carbon element. Black is the all of all, born in triple darkness out of the black hole, black matter, 24%, black energy, 76%, to birth this one universe of the omniverse, one of the multiverse. The all of all. All is and all is infinite. All transcends space, matter, as well as time. Nuwapians. This does not mean all is not part of, separated from space, material, in which you live and reside. All is present, even movement. And a movement is before a second. You have 60 minutes, or Latin minor, less. In 1 hour, Greek, harder, horror. And you have 60 seconds, Latin, second, follow. In 1 minute, and you have 60 moments, Latin, movement, 1 second. Unto now, Old English, new, at the present time, Old English, tima, duration. There's no future for when you move into it. It becomes now. right now is the only real time. When it is in the past as when that happened, or what is it to come as when that happens. So, in actual fact, the same for then is in the past then as back then, and what is to come as then when that time comes. So only true existence is now, which is between when, now and now. The is something, anything. So we are the all of all, or all is I am, who I am, and become what I became. All is present even before the first movement of time. All is omnipresent. All is not and cannot ever be absent. It must be a thing to be absent, the. To be absent is to have moved from one point to another. Transcendence does not mean, however, the all is not present in space. Space is present in all. All is not limited to or by space, time or matter, even the wide open space, vacuum of the multiverses or galactic, and those that make the claim that their God, deity, by which attributes, title, name in whichever language, dialects, or tongue. When in the Bible and the Quran, those who claim to obey these books need to acknowledge what they claim when they in fact state God, deity, is in heaven or in heavens above, or their supreme being sits on his throne. And now we're going to go through just a few of these verses. It's a lot of verses here dealing with God sitting on the throne. 1 Kings 22:19. Therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne with all the multitude of heaven standing around him on his right and on his left. 2 Chronicle 18:18. Therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne and all the host of the heavens standing on his right and on his left. Psalms 11:4. The Lord is his holy temple. The Lord is on his heavenly throne. He observed everyone on earth. His eyes examine them. Acts chapter 2:30. But he was a prophet and knew that God had promised him on oath that he would place one of his descendants on his throne. Hebrew 12:2. Fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorned its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Quran 7:54-58. Indeed, your Lord is Allah, who created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and established himself above the throne. He covers the night with the day, chasing it rapidly, and he created the sun, the moon, and the stars, subjected it by his command. Unquestionably, his is the creation and the command. Blessed is Allah, Lord of the worlds. And the good land is the vegetation emerged by permission of its Lord, but that which is bad, nothing emerged except sparingly. With difficulty, this due diversity, the signs for a people who are grateful. Quran 9:129. But if they turn away, say Allah is sufficient for me. There is no God but He. In Him do I put my trust, and He is the Lord of the mighty throne. Quran 20:5. The most merciful, who is above the throne, established. Quran 23:86 and 116. Say, who is the Lord of the seven heavens and the Lord of the great throne? So exalted is Allah, the sovereign, the truth. There is no deity except Him, Lord of the noble throne. 57:4. It is he who created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and then established himself above the throne. He knows what penetrates into the earth, and what emerged from it, and from descent from the heavens, and what ascended therein. And he is with you whatever you are, and Allah of what you do is seeing. Quran 85:15. Honorable owner of the throne. And Allah even has a kursi chair, seat. Quran 2, verse 255. So he sits as the Yahweh, or El, Elohim, of the religion of Mosesism, and the El, father of Jesus Christ, of the religion of Paulism, Christians. Their deity has a seat, someplace within all. They even say their deity is in heaven, or as in Moses came down from heaven, Genesis 1:2, or Genesis 11:5-7, or Genesis 18:1-8, and many other places in the Old Testament, or as sons of deity, Genesis 6:2, or as Adam himself, Luke 3:38, or as Jesus the Christ called the Son of God. And where is this God throne set up? Verse 25. And where is this God's throne, seat up in heaven above? Genesis 21:17. God heard the boy crying, and the angels of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lied there." Deuteronomy 3:24. Sovereign Lord, you have begun to show to your servant your greatness, your strong hand. For what God is there in heaven or on earth who can do the deeds and mighty work you do? Deuteronomy 4:39. Acknowledge and take to heart this day that the Lord is God in heaven above and the earth below. There is no other. Joshua 2:11. When we heard of it, our hearts melted in fear, and everyone's courage fell because of you. For the Lord your God in heaven above and on the earth below. Job 22:12. Is not God in the height of heaven, and see how lofty are the highest stars? Psalms 11:4. The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord is on his heavenly throne. He observed everyone on earth. His eyes examine them. Matthew 6:9. This then is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Quran 43:84. And it is Allah who is the only deity in the heaven and on the earth, the only deity, and he is the wise, the knowing. Quran 53:49. And that is he who is the Lord of Sirius. Quran 4, verse 158. Rather Allah raised him to himself, and ever is Allah exalted in might and wise. So if God of Moses, Jesus, Mohammedanism is on a seat, has a throne, it is up in the sky above, or heaven above, or in anything or any place that says he is not all. He can be in, so he can be out. If their God is in any place or thing, then he must be smaller than whatever, and not, then he cannot be omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. He can't be there and here at the same time, as is clear by his own questions in the Bible, which birthed the Quran. This God asks, Genesis 3:9, where art thou? Genesis 3:11, who told thee? Genesis 3:13, what is this? Genesis 4:6, why art thou wroth? Genesis 4:9, where is Abel, thy brother? Genesis 4:10, what hast thou done? And on this God of Abraham religion does not know all things, or see all things, or hear all things. He, as you read, has to ask. In fact, Genesis 11:5 says, and the Lord came down to see. So he has to come down to the planet Earth to see what the humans are doing in any one place and any one time. The deity of the Bible and the Quran has no more power than Adam, Genesis 3:22, Exodus 7:1. They became like their God, Genesis 3:5. And as you read Genesis 3:22, Adam did become like one of them. They are not all. Their gods are part of the all, the light of lights inside of Adamites. Their spirit, Genesis 2:7. No more. Nuwapians of Wunuwapu. Now let us again speak in the all of all. Though present, all is not limited by space or time or matter. In Wunuwap, Wunuwapians know we are the all of all. We are space, time, and matter. The 24%, which is black, dark matter, of this one universe move forward by the 76% of black, dark energy of this universe, carbon-based life of all living. You, the black seed of all life, the original people on this planet, are the source of all living beings. They all come from the African black woman, maker, owner, mitochondria of the planet Earth, mother of all humanoid, goddess of this universe. They only have faith or belief, no one physical fact of the God they worship, until they come to realize what their last prophet said about Pleiades star system, who came to him to upstate New York, called Moroni, as a bright, shiny light. And this was the prophet Joseph Smith of the white race of Mormons, sent to warn the white, and they killed him. So their time is ending, and their last prophet and warner called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Satan, the white race last hope. Jesus was the last prophet of the Israelites. Muhammad was the last prophet of the Ishmaelites. Joseph was the last prophet of the Canaanites. And that was today's lesson. Any rereads from the lesson? Tour. Tour. The all of all. I, Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, has these words for you, my beloved children, jewels of my heart, Nuwapians of Wunuwap. Our reason for coming back to this planet is to recover our seed on old Mother Earth, the blue water planet, our long lost, yet not forgotten offspring. Now please let me depart to you that which is about you. You are 24% the black matter of 100% of this one universe, expanding of the 76% of black energy. You are the carbon of life, the black hole, atomic number 6 in physical. You are the atomic number H1, hydrogen, that heated up to become the atomic number H2, helium. You are the atomic number nitrogen, 7, nitrogen. You are the atomic number O8, oxygen. These are and were the original elements needed for this form of life, and they as H1, H2, C6, N7, O8 equals 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 equals 24 for the planet Earth and the 24 genomes. These 5 elements have their physical base in the black carbon element. Black is the all of all. born in triple darkness. Out of the black hole, black matter, 24%, black energy, 76%, to birth this one universe of the omniverse, one of the multiverse. The all of all. All is, and the all is infinite. All transcendent space, matter, as well as time. Nuwapi, this does not mean all is not part of or separated from space, material which you live and reside. All is present every moment, and every moment is before a second. You have 60 minutes, or Latin minor less, in 1 hour, Greek quarter, and you have 60 seconds, Latin separate, follow. In 1 minute, you have 60 moments, Latin movement. 1 second, onto now, Old English new, at the present time, Old English tima, duration. There is no future for when you have moved into it. It becomes now. Right now is the only real time. When is in the past as when that happened, or what is to come as when that happens. So in actual fact, the same for then is in the past, then as back then, and what is to come as then when the time comes. So only true existence is now, which is in between when and when, now and now. The is something, anything. So we are the all of all, or all is I am who I am and became what I became. All is present, even before the first moment of time. All is omnipresent. All is not and cannot ever be absent. It must be a thing. It must be a thing to be absent. To be absent is to have moved from one point to another. Transcendent does not mean, however, the all is not present in space. Space is present in all. All is not limited to or by space, time, and or matter, even the wide open space vacuum of the multiverses or galactic, and those that make the claim that they're God, deity, by which attribute, title, name, in whichever language, dialect, or tongue. When in the Bible and Quran, those who claim to obey these books need to acknowledge what they claim when they in fact state God, deity, is in heaven or in heaven above, or their supreme being sits on his throne. Then it goes into all the Bible verses. The deity of the Bible and the Quran have no more power than Adam, Genesis 3:22, Exodus 7:1. They became like their God, Genesis 3:5. And as you read Genesis 3:22, Adam did become like one of them. They are not all. Their God a part of the all, the light of light inside of Adamites. Their spirit, Genesis 2:7. No more. The Wapis of Wunuwap. Now, let us again speak in the all of all. Though present, all is not limited by space or time or matter. In Wunuwap, we Nuwapis know we are the all of all. We are space, time, and matter. The 24%, which is black, dark matter of this one universe, moved forward by the 76% of black, dark energy of this universe, carbon base of all living. You, the black seed of all life, the original people on this planet, are the source of all living beings. They all come from the African black woman, maker, owner, mitochondria of the planet Earth, mother of all humanoids, goddess of this universe. They only have faith or belief, no one physical fact of the God they worship, until they come to realize what their last prophet said about a Pleiades star system, who came to him in upstate New York called Moroni as a bright, shiny light. And this was Prophet Joseph Smith of the white race of Mormons, sent to warn the white, and they killed him. So their time is ended, and their last prophet and warned came, called the Church of Latter-day Saints, Satan, days Satan. The white race last hope. Jesus was the last prophet of the Israelites. Muhammad was the last prophet of the Ishmaelites. Joseph was the last prophet of the Canaanites. Any more rereads from the lesson? No rereads, no questions from the lesson? All right, and with that, we're going to go into last week's update. One, the Israelites who went back to worship, he said, am I saying that right? Anybody know? Okay. He said, were really Egyptians because by this point of departure, they had been in Egypt for 430 years, and the change in the genes only take 4 generations, or 400 years. Again, Moses was not able to go into the promised land because of his exposure to the radiation from the craft. Yet, he was transformed into an Elohim, or God, in Exodus 7:1. Instead, Moses was taken up from Mount Nebo. Joshua, also Yeshua in Hebrew, or Jesus, led them to the promised land of Canaan. They were still connected to their God, or Anunnaki. And you know this because when they got into conflict, the walls of Jericho was destroyed by a shofar. Joshua 6:6, 8:13, 26. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of rams' horns before the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram horns passed before the Lord, and blew the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant followed them. And 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horn before the ark of the Lord went on continually, and blew the trumpet, and the armed men went before them. But the reward came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on and blowing from the trumpet. So the prophet shortened when the priest blew with the trumpet, and it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that wall fell down flat. So the people went up to the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. The ark of the covenant was placed in a certain position, and there was contact with the craft above. So once they were ready, they used the shofar, ram's horn, or trumpet to channel the tone, and the wall came tumbling down. Hebrew 11:30. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down. After they were compassed about 7 days, now there were giants. Now there were giants in the land. However, the people were like 5 feet, and being the Anunnaki and Anakim were like 6 feet tall, they would appear to be as giants. 2. Whenever God cursed the land with leprosy, when Miriam criticized Moses for marrying an Ethiopian or Cushite woman found in Numbers 12:1, and Miriam and Aaron spec against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman who he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman in Numbers 12:10. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, at last, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb. It speaks about her having leprosy. Then in Numbers 12:13-14, she is put out of the camp for a week. Numbers 12:13-14, and Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, Heal her now, O God, I beseech thee. And the Lord said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, she should not be ashamed 7 days. Let her be shut up out of the camp seven days, and after that let her receive in again. By the point that Moses and the Israelites were mixed, by this point Moses and the Israelites were mixed, like Latinos of today. By 2060 AD, all of their people, Adamu, will be gone. Some will return to where they came from, Valhalla, over which Odin resides. These beings or Pleiadians are playing or acting as your deities. They claim heaven is the seventh star of Orion when they are referring to the 7 stars of Pleiades. Even Asar, who was in Orion, was born on Sirius, as well as the Houthi. Women were from Canis Major, or the Sirius star system, Sirius star constellation, and spoke first. The original people, 3. The original people, Tahites, came onto the land from the swamp in Botswana. They are called Sand People, or the Bushmen of Kalahari. They were also called Nubians, and Nubes was also a name for gold, as South Africa is known for its gold mines, and the people have a gold complexion, as the minerals or metals in the soil affects the hue of the people. Where there is a stronger iron content, have a green hue. Those with more copper have a reddish hue. 4. What insects are sacred to us? Question. The bee, the mosquito, the dragonfly, and the fly. There's another insect referred to as Gordon, which is the mantis or praying mantis. They are incarnations of the Riskians, so we do not kill them either. Of course, insects did something to help us as a people. The mosquitoes kept the Adamites from penetrating the deeper parts of Africa and from completely taken over by spreading malaria. The fly also. The dragonfly and bee hover and are what the designs of the crafts are based upon, as they cannot fly and their body is disproportionate to their wings. The praying mantis is an insect we do not kill. 5. Einstein was not German. He is actually Indian. His formula of E equals mc squared was talking about atomic or cellular level, yet light has color. Color has energy. However, E equals emotion, M is for mass, C is for carbon, and the speed of light. Einstein didn't cross these boundaries. 6. Once an albino occurs in every species, it is the end. Once they discover the 19th element, it is time to go, as Genesis 6:3 says. And the Lord said, my spirit should not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. So with the discovery of the 120th element, that will be the end, and the extraterrestrials will step in. 7. Obama is trying to talk to Iran because they have some serious technology to be able to pull drones out of the sky intact and to be able to rewire them in a sense. The Republicans in their hate fail to see the benefits of what Obama is doing. 8. The Adamu were born to be slaves. Once Canaan was born, he was servant of servant, Genesis 9:25. And he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servant shall he be unto his brethren. Yet as recessive genes, they have to mix and to survive. So whenever they take over, they kill all the men and the male children and take all of the women. They always have to rule or enslave because that was their purpose for creation. 9. There was a question asked, if we are from sea as mermaids, then how do we tie into the mantis? When the cell was transplanted to this planet inside dolphins, some of the result of those cells mixing caused defects, which would produce mermaids and mermen. Yet, from them the original Tawhites came out of the waters, and they were thrown inland due to tsunamis and other forms of natural disasters, and came upon land. With years and years of evolution are the Bushmen or sand people of Zimbabwe and Botswana today. As far as the killings, 10. As far as the killings of unarmed black men, it is only going to get worse. At one time, Vigil anti-group controlled the streets and the crime. Then different groups of the mafia broke off and decided to control crime. The Polish, police, the Irish, the IRS, and the Jews, the judicial system. This is the reoccurring cycle with every empire. Once it becomes too corrupt, the people rise against it. From 2015 to 2030 will be their decline. Amongst people of color, with all the intermixing, you have malicious ancestors causing conflict, so literally have genetic wars. So we infight against each other. Each has to recognize it and control either yourself or that ancestor that may wish to do you harm by making you violate that divine rule and cause you to cross over to the other side. Not all of you ancestors are agreeable. Not all of your ancestors are agreeable. So that's why it's very important that you know who you marry and who they mix with. Some spirits can actually cause a disease to attack someone. For example, a person may commit suicide and a guard may have drove them to the act. Now that spirit is angry and that malevolent, so it follows that person home because they are trapped at that prison and can focus on the ions in the air and cause his wife to develop breast cancer. If a person creates a monster in their mind, that monster now actually exists because as a man thinks, so shall it be. On another note, what you see a person as is what your mind projects them as, not necessarily how they actually appear. 11. What we must do is extend ourselves to the other person to become harmonic. For example, when you are driving in a car with someone, you may make a sharp turn or brake without alerting the other person. You are not taking into consideration that they may have been in a car accident before and the effects that this is having on them. You may be shortening their life and not even realize the effect you are having on that person. And that was the end of this week's update. Any questions, comments, concerns? Tour.
Can you reread 5 and 6, please?
5 and 6? Tour. Einstein was not German, he's actually Indian. His formula of E equals mc squared was talking about the atomic or cellular level. Yet light has color, color has energy. However, E equals emotions and M is for mass, C is for carbon, and the speed of light. Einstein didn't cross these boundaries. 6. Once an albino occurs in every species, it is the end. Once they discover the 19th element, it is time to go, as Genesis 6:3 says. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that is also is flesh, that he is flesh also. yet his days shall be 120 years. So with the discovery of the 120th element, that will be the end, and the extraterrestrial will step in. Any more? Any questions? Concerns? Sister?
Can you reread number 10?
Number 10? Tool. 10. As far as the killings of unarmed black men, it is only going to get worse. At one time, Vigil's anti-group controlled the streets and the crime. Then different groups of the mafia broke off and decided to control crime. The Polish police, the Irish, the IRS, and the Jews, the judicial system. This is a reoccurring cycle with every empire. Once it becomes too corrupt, the people rise up against it. From 2015 to 2030 will be their decline. Amongst people of color, with all the intermixing, you have malicious ancestors causing conflict. So literally, have genetic wars. So we infight against each other. Each has to recognize it and control either yourself or that ancestor that may wish to do you harm by making you violate that divine rule and cause you to cross over to the other side. Not all of your ancestors are agreeable, so that is why it is very important that you know who you marry and who they mix with and who they are mixed with. Some spirits can actually cause a disease to attack someone. For example, a person may commit suicide and a guard may have drove them to that act. Now that spirit is angry and that malevolent, so follows that person home because they are trapped at the prison and can focus the ions in the air and cause his wife to develop breast cancer. If a person creates a monster in their mind, that monster now actually exists. Because as a man thinketh, so shall it be. On another note, what you see a person as is what your mind projects them as, not necessarily how they actually appear. What we must do is extend ourselves to other persons to become harmonic. For example, when you are driving in a car with someone and you make a sharp turn or brake without alerting the other person, you are not taking into consideration that they may have been in a car accident before and the effects that this is having on them. You may be shortening their life, not even realizing the effect you are having on that person. Any more rereads? Any questions? Questions going for 1 million, questions going for 2 million, questions going for 5 million. No questions. Okay.
Hey, over here.
In the last update, like the one before this one, he spoke about Joseph Smith and how he's going to save the white race. So say he succeeded with his plan, what would happen?
I'm not sure what would happen if he would have succeeded. His question was, being that Joseph Smith was sent here to save his race, he said if he didn't die or if they didn't kill him, would he have succeeded? And I said, I don't know. But I will tell you this. One of the reasons, right, and how he would have saved him was because Joseph Smith was pushing polygamy, right? And as we all know, the white race or the pale race is a dying race, right? And their percentage here on the planet is very low in comparison to other races. So they're a dying species. So Joseph Smith was pushing polygamy, which is their way also in the Bible, right? They didn't want that. And what that would have done for the white race, it would have gave them a longer extension. But natural nature decides when and where somebody comes in and out, and their time is up. But it would have gave them an extension. And remember too also that he was sent from an angel called Moroni who came down to him from Pleiades. So remember, some of them came and the rapture happened in Alaska. So some got saved by their overlords. And others, they're here. And they, like he said, by 2030, there'll be none left. You got another question?
That's going back to what you were saying, I think the last verse about being harmonic and someone, I guess, reliving that tragic experience, or shorten, you say you shorten their life, we don't know it. So right. Does that basically mean if we unconsciously bring someone else in an environment or a situation that makes them relive that tragic moment, it takes away from their lifespan? I'm not really clear on that.
Okay, I'm going to reread that particular verse. 11. What we must do is extend ourselves to the other person to become harmonic. For example, when you are driving in a car with someone and you make a sharp turn or brake without alerting the other person, you are not taking into consideration that they may have been in a car accident before and the effects that this is having on them. You may be shortening their life and not even realize the effects you're having on that person.
So how exactly does that shorten their life?
I can't answer that. I'm not sure. We consider it. I'm not sure what he means by shortening their life. He said it may. He said you may can shorten their life. But from what I see that's here, it was really coming off verse 10. And pretty much saying that, we have to start taking into consideration pretty much on how other people feel in their life experiences. Sometimes we treat each other a certain way, and sometimes we don't know what that person either been through in life and all the trauma or all the different experiences that person might have went through. And we may be doing something and not realizing that this person has either been in a car accident or been in an incident, and their life feel threatened. They feel like, oh, I can possibly die, or this could possibly happen to me. So from what verse 10 was saying, it says towards the end, it said it was talking about the different spirit forces. It's amongst people of color with all the intermixing. You have malicious ancestors causing conflict. So literally have genetic wars. So we infight against each other. Each has to recognize it and control either yourself or that ancestor that may wish you to do harm by making you violate that divine rule and cause you to cross over to the other side. Not all of your ancestors are agreeable. So that is why it is very important that you know who you are married and who they are mixed with. Some spirits can actually cause a disease to attack someone. For example, a person may commit suicide and a guard may have drove them to the act. Now that spirit is angry and malevolent, so it follows that person home because they are trapped at the prison. And they can focus the ions in the air and cause his wife to develop breast cancer. If a person creates a monster in their mind, and the monster now actually exists because a person creates a monster, if a person creates a monster in their mind, that monster now actually exists because as a man thinketh, so shall it be. On another note, what you see a person as is what your mind projects them as, not necessarily how they actually appear. So that last sentence is more so where I was going at. Like a lot of times when we do stuff, we don't really take in consideration the circumstance and situation of the other person. We just kind of move on certain things without actually asking. So opposed to us just making a movement, it's like take time, right, and actually see what's the problem with your brother or with your sister, or become, like he said, harmonic. He used the word harmonic. It has to be a certain harmony that you have to create with one another, because you don't really know the experiences that other person is going through in life. And he used an example, like if you press it on the brakes, or if you make a fast turn, that person might have went through an experience where their life feel threatened. But like I said, as far as the short lifespan and how that shortens lifespan, that's something we would have to send into Paa Nabab Yaanuwn.
Okay, so being that our ancestors have the capability of warring with each other, right?
Two.
Does that mean that could be one of the ways that you could shorten somebody's life, by that your ancestor making you do something that you're not consciously aware of to harm the other person? Like their ancestor is trying to get rid of the other person's ancestor, and they make you do something and you might not even be aware of it. Like how some people, they might just get upset, they black out and they don't know what happened.
Right.
Like that ancestor take over and then do something to harm the other person because their ancestor was born with the other one?
Yes, and that happens a lot, with people. But the thing is, that's why Paa Nabab Yaanuwn has sent down Patarak, the actual facts. Because those are the books, or those are the tools that we need, where we know the power of genetic kiss. We know the power of the 30 spirits. We know the power of that we are all intermixed here. No one is pure African. Or they're not here at least. And all of us are mixed in, are intermixed. So what happens is, when we read these actual facts, remember, in Patarak, they are transforming us. Remember, he said, if you read Patarak, a different Patarak for 30 days, you will be transformed. Because your DNA is intaking it. Remember, Baba speaks to the DNA. So what happens is, there's certain spirit forces that are in us, Mukasu spirit forces that are in us, that doesn't agree. Or it may be warring tribes. Your tribe or your ancestors from hundreds of years ago was in war with another person's ancestors, and y'all don't like each other. That's why in Patarak it says before you get in a relationship with somebody, you're supposed to be able to court. And you're supposed to court, I'm not sure exactly the days, for like a year, I think, right? But what happens is you court to know that person, know what that person's DNA is made out of, know that person's blood type, know what spirit forces you may possibly have to come or deal with, because they will become a part of you and they'll be attached to your DNA and they'll make you do certain things. But as Nawapians, right, as non-ether beings, as conscious beings, we are supposed to recognize or acknowledge when we make certain things or certain mistakes, or when those spirit forces come out. And that's why we're supposed to constantly be studying these actual facts, constantly be reading Patarak, so when certain things happen like that, we can acknowledge. That's why you're supposed to know thyself. You're supposed to know yourself to the point where when you step out of those lines, you're like, oh man, it happens to all of us. It happens to me. We step out of that line, it's like, oh man, and after you do it, you realize that's not me. That's another spirit force that was in control of me at the time. So we have to just know yourself, because remember, with the 30 personalities, the first one is you. And that you is conscious. It's self-aware of what it's doing. So you have to mind your mind. You have to be aware on the actions that you're taking. because you may hurt somebody else not really knowing it, because you may think you're doing the right thing when in actuality you're making the wrong move, because this person's experience is totally different than yours, and the way your eyes see things, right, or the way your brain interprets people, right, is not the way it really is. We have a sister in the back. I have a question in the brother here.
The question I have is basically on what you just built on. You said that the conscious is the I. And so basically the question that I have now is, okay, if we are in control consciously, subconsciously, who is in control?
I'm not understanding the question.
Okay, from what I heard, when you said that the I in us is the conscious us.
You.
Is the you, okay. So the subconscious us, is that our ancestors?
The subconscious is not your ancestors.
Yes.
Everything that makes you up are your ancestors. Everything. You know, their DNA is made up of code. Right? So everything that you intake, everything that you are made up of, your thoughts, your spirit, your emotion, all that is an intermixing. But the difference is, right, is that when you get those chromosomes from your mother, those 23 chromosomes from your mother, those 23 chromosomes from your father, it creates a unique person. And that unique person is you. But when you're dealing with the conscious, remember, the subconscious mind, certain beings communicate to you by way of the subconscious mind. But the subconscious mind is more so something that's being stored. It's something that's storing memory. It's your subconscious mind. So everything, remember, you have three minds. You have more than three minds. You have three things, right? You have your conscious, you have your subconscious, and you have your aware mind, right? Your conscious is you, right? Your subconscious is your memory bank, right? And things that you're intaking, right? Your aware mind is the mind that's intaking everything that you're seeing. So right now, from your point of view, right, what's coming into your brains, right now, it's probably 20,000 colors that's coming to you that your brain are receiving right now, right? You're seeing different shades, you're seeing different shades of people, you're hearing all these different tones, everything is coming in. That's being stored within your subconscious mind. You may not see 20 different variations of black, right? You may not think of it, but your aware mind is processing it. Your aware mind is processing everything that's around you, and that's being stored within your subconscious mind, right? Like for example, just say if you was trying to think of something, you know how like, you're trying to figure out somebody's name, or you're trying to figure out, you know, a certain incident or whatever it may be, and you know it's like it's on the tip of my tongue, it's on the tip of my tongue, right? What's happening is that your conscious mind is going in those files again, and they saying, what is that person's name? What is the name of that car? And it's going through all the things, and at that point, the conscious, you can't think of what it is. It may be 2 hours later, it may be 5 days later, it may be 2 seconds later, but it comes. Because the mind never stopped looking for that file. Although you was doing whatever you was doing, it never stopped looking for that file. It continued going on. So there's a difference. But remember, we are all made up of our ancestors. That morphogenetic code is instilled in each one of us from our ancestors. So some of the decisions that we make, it may be more stronger, but you still have the unique you. You still have the you that can make that conscious decision over your ancestors. Remember, the different decisions that we make, sometimes or a lot of times we may talk about, like when we talk about genetic history, we may say it may be somebody who's addicted to alcohol, or it may be somebody who's addicted to some type of drug, right? And that has a stronger force, or is a stronger force that you have to feed, right? But in actuality, that happens with everything, meaning that you have good spirit forces. You may read, you may want to eat healthy. Those are also the spirit forces as well that's working inside of you as well. It's not just the negative spirit forces, but you have both. We're comprised of both, agreeable and disagreeable. But you have to know that here on this physical planet, there are certain rules and regulations that you have to follow. And those rules, right, that we have to abide by deals with how long we live. If you eat unhealthy, you will not live long. If you eat healthy, you will live long. That is an actual fact.
Okay, if someone was under like a hypnotic spell,
Totally.
okay, which part of the mind is actually working? Is it the conscious mind or subconscious mind?
The question is, if somebody is under a hypnotic spell,
Right.
which
Let's
mind is
say,
working?
right, so if someone, like a psychiatrist, was to put you under a hypnotic spell,
It would be both. Both would be both. Right? And why? Is because, I'll give you an example, right? A person who's raised, right, in the school of Christianity, right? Everything that they took from birth on is stored within their conscious mind, right? Their subconscious mind, I'm going to say. So they act consciously based upon what they know. Right? And like Paa Nabab Yaanuwn has done with us, he's walked us through many schools, right? So when we was in the schools of Ansar, right, there was a certain veil over our minds. We were still under a certain type of spell, right? And as he slowly lifted, right, and made us what? Conscious, more conscious, right? Didn't mean that we were still not under the spell. Because a lot of us Nuwapians are still under the spell, right? But he was walking us through different schools. And the more he was walking us into those schools, the more of the spell that was being lifted. So it is based upon what you know. It's going to be based upon the information and the knowledge you have and how you apply that knowledge to yourself. So as he started walking us through Islamic Hebrew, he started bringing certain things down. And then he introduced us to Nuwapu. And it kept going on and on and on, all the way to spirituality, to you making that connection directly to your ancestors. That's what the ancient Egyptian order is all about, making that direct connection from you to your Salafi, your ancestors. Did that answer your question? You got a question up in the front?
Okay. I want to ask you a question in regards to when you mentioned about the insects that we shouldn't kill. Bees, dragonfly, fly,
Right.
and also what was the last one? The praying mantis.
So,
Now, these insects you said should not be killed. And being that we're all part of, or we're trying to reestablish ourselves as a part of natural nature, then how should we be responding to other insects that, you know, we may feel threatened by or non-threatened by? You know, how do we respond to that, you know?
Well, that's actually in Paa. We don't go around just killing insects. That's not our way. That's not the way of Uluwatu. He mentioned in that Paa that if that insect, you know, so happens to be a poison insect, right, and he's sitting on your daughter, then of course you're gonna have to do what you have to do. You're gonna have to eliminate him at that point, or it, right? But as far as just going around and you stumping stuff and you, now you know you may have to get a wasp that's attacking you. You may get an insect. Some insects attack you. So he said if it's not bothering you or is not doing any harm to you, then we don't mess with it. You know, we don't do it. But if it is, if you're in that way and you see a possibility, then of course you have to do what you have to do. Your natural instinct is going to do what it has to do. When sun comes close to your face, you just, right, you swipe fast. You don't even got to think, you just swipe. You know, you swiping your back, you swiping everywhere. That's just naturally your brain, that's a brain a reaction. That's the reptilian part of the brain. It's reacting off something. It's like, it's be aware, and it's just, you know, so we don't just go around killing every insect. You know, we don't kill no insect unless, like I said, it's doing harm to a person, a particular person, individual. Any more questions? Anybody? There's a question in the back.
Heads up.
At the,
Referring back to the statement about traumatic experiences and shortening the lifespan, I don't know if we can elaborate on adrenaline, because it would seem like adrenaline might be why your lifespan is short. Like it's something so traumatic that you experience it again. Like, you know how you get an adrenaline rush when you go through something traumatic? You can
okay, so your question, oh, you saying elaborate on that?
Yeah, like can you, are you able to elaborate on adrenaline? Because it would seem like adrenaline might be the reason why.
Right, okay. Okay, I understand. The sister was making a point, when the sister asked earlier about shortening the lifespan, right? And that's actually a good point. There's different things that can actually shorten the lifespan. You know, like she said, the rush of adrenaline, the stress, you know, there's so many numerous ways that can actually shorten your lifespan. You know, so that's actually, I didn't even think about it, that's actually a good point that she's actually making. And that's probably what Paa Nabab Yaanuwn was talking about. You know, we still send a question in, but yeah, but pretty much that's a good point. You know, because if that person is in that vehicle or that person is going through certain things and it's producing certain hormones, because when you start pumping adrenaline or that fear come over or anything like that, your body's actually reacting to something. And it's actually releasing certain hormones or fluids within your body. And some of those hormones can cause, you know, take off your lifespan. You know, just the same way how you may put certain fluids in your body, right, or certain toxins in your body that shorten your lifespan. It's something that's always being produced. To be happy, you're producing a hormone. To be angry, you're producing a hormone. To be sexual, you're producing a hormone. So every little thing that we do, right, is actually your certain glands are responsible for producing certain things. So whether it's exterior or whether it's happening interior, it's producing something. And some can extend your life and some can take away from your life. But towel hat for that is a mountain. There's a brother right here. There's a sister right here. I can't see the light. The light is coming. See a little bit. How's that?
I was saying maybe somebody's lifespan, if the person makes a quick turn, also because if they make a sharp turn and they don't know about incoming cars, and that could be a way they can shorten someone's life too, because they can end up in a car accident. Like even though you said the person may have been in a car accident prior to that, and they already, you know, they got an adrenaline rush from the person making a quick turn, not letting them know. If they make a quick turn and this car is coming, they can also get an accident. That might be why they shorten their life too.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Or they can see their life pass by them. I mean, it's been times where I've been in and the driver, you know, makes a mistake and it's like, and my spirit just jumped out my body like, oh, because you see that possibility that if, you know, that car would have hit me, that possibility that, wow, I could have been gone. Just that thought, you know, makes you feel a certain way. So that's right, let alone if it actually happens, you know.
Yeah, I understand that clearly. 3 of our brothers in North Carolina, when we come back from the tone ceremony, I wasn't in the vehicle, but the brother fell asleep behind the wheel running 75, and the throttle right over all 3 of them. They didn't get no scratch, no nothing. But I was breaking down some equipment for Jackson Hughes right before I left North Carolina, and I'm driving a truck, and one of the brothers that was in that accident, he exercises, he's spiritual, he's deep with it, you know what I mean? He studies like a real student. But when I was messing with that cell phone and let that truck hit that little boop on the right, he said, hey man, I'm about to take that cell phone from you. And I knew he meant it. He's a martial art expert too. But I knew he meant it, you know what I'm saying? But he said, it gave him a flashback of that accident. accident running 75 miles an hour. He was in the passenger seat, drove home to sleep, and it was just traumatic. So I will stand there really good, you know what I mean? And being considerate for him, I put that phone there, you know, tell him.
That's it. On the Pontaracs, on the crest, there are, I think, 4 insects. What are their significance?
The crest. Right. Think of the ant. Mosquito. I'm trying to see which one. I think it's the ant, the bee, the mosquito, and the fly. Are those the 4?
Might be a dragonfly.
That might be dragonfly, right? I'm trying to bring an image of that crest to see real fast. Somebody actually asked this question before, some years ago when they first came out. I'm trying to see, can I do it? The crest. I got a small crest, and I'm just trying to see what's the other one. But those are the 4, right? Okay, and that's the what?
A dragonfly, an ant, a bee, and a mosquito.
Okay. And you said what was the significance? And I know Patarak, the bee, right? It gives a whole breakdown on the significance of what a bee is, and in the Holy Tablets is a whole breakdown of what the bee was, the significance of the bee. You know, the beehive and their work ethics and stuff like that, and the creating of the honey. Now, the dragonfly, I don't know. What's the other one? The ant, I don't know. Well, the ant and working together in colony, you know, the ant. But it was 2, somebody asked this question some years ago, and we was asking that same questions too. But the other 2, what was the other? Oh yeah, the mosquitoes, we just heard the significance of the mosquito. But the other one, that's the one. You said it was a dragonfly? It was the praying mantis? Oh, you talking about that's on the crest? You saying that the other insect on the crest is a praying mantis? It's not. It's a what? A mosquito, right? Correct. It's the mosquito. So it's the mosquito, the bee. Oh, a beetle. Oh, okay. Okay, the beetle. Okay, I'm here. Okay, so the significance of a beetle is, of course, transformation. You know, if that's one of the insects you're talking about. Is that one of the insects you're talking about? The beetle? Huh? Hold on. Your question was, on our crest, we have 4 insects, right? And what was the significance of those 4 insects, right? So I'm trying to get the 4 insects that was actually on that crest, right? It was because it's real small on this one. I can't see it. On this particular crest, it's so small, I can't see it, but I do see the beetle. Yeah, Patarak, anybody kind of big? Because I'm not sure. The scarab, I see the scarab on there, but I'm not sure if that one of the insects. It's on the back. Turn on. He got one. Okay, the bee, the ant. Okay, the dragonfly. Okay, and the mosquito. Okay. Now. And the scarab. That's why I didn't think the scarab was one of them. Okay. So, okay, it was 4. Well, the scarab, okay, it was 4 up top, and the scarab was more bigger. Then they had the banana bird. Okay, and so like I said, there's a patarak on the bee, right? There's a whole patarak, and there's also insert in the Holy Tablet on the bee. And the ant, as far as, colonizing and working together, the dragonfly. The dragonfly. Well, it mentioned it in the update, the dragonfly, and a mosquito. So yeah, that's all for them. That's, oh, I don't know. That's the only one doesn't have a real, because it says, let me reread it again. Because remember, I get these updates when y'all get updates. 4. What insects are sacred to us? The bee, the mosquito, dragonfly, and the fly. There's another referred to as Gordon, which is the mantis or praying mantis. They are incarnations of riskeens, so we do not kill them either. Of course, insects did something to help us as a people. The mosquito kept the Adamu from penetrating the deeper parts of Africa and completely taking over or spreading malaria. The fly also. The dragonfly and bee hover and are what the designs of the craft are based upon. Okay, there we go. As they cannot fly because their body is disproportionate to their wings, they hover. And the praying mantis is an insect that we do not kill. So as far as the dragonfly, I remember back on Covington Highway, Barbara mentioned in the update, and I'm not sure, but I know he said the bee and the fly, they vibrate on F sharp. He mentioned that. He said they actually vibrate on F sharp, and they don't fly, they hover. I think he mentioned a hummingbird as well. So that's the only thing I got on that. But the dragonfly, based upon what this is saying here, they used it. They designed it off the craft. The crafts are based upon the design of those two insects. Any more questions?
I just wanted to add a little bit to what I was saying earlier, what was being discussed earlier about the ancestors and being on harmony. I remember back in the other day, I don't know how long ago it was, when the Bible said we have the 4 chambers of the heart, and then when we get our heart broken or we go through a traumatic experience, it takes away one of those chambers. And people can die from having a broken heart, like literally. So when you experience enough traumatic, go through enough traumatic things, or if you've been through something traumatic and then you end up reliving the same thing over and over, it's like taken away from your heart. So I was just thinking that would be another way of how your life could be shortened that way. And then also, I know the ancestors war with one another, but they war with yourself as well. Because I remember in another update where Bible said how you can be driving in the car and how you have like a different reality than other people, and how you could look down, like you could be driving and nothing is just running you, and then you look down for a split second and then look back up, and then it's the car like boom right there, and you be like, oh, you got to swerve out the way and everything, and that's actually like your ancestors trying to pull you back to the spiritual world by trying to take you away from this physical world, Right. And it's not like you did something on purpose to hurt yourself, but they'll distract you and do different things for you to get rid of yourself.
I remember that update, and he was saying that on that particular, on the end part he was talking about, he was saying that it was actually 2 different updates, and one he said the mind, and one he said the spirit. And the one where he said the mind, he said, and he gave an example. He said, like, you drive in a car, and then he said, you just put your feet, you know, to the pedal all the way down. He said a lot of times, he said, that's the mind that's making you do that. The mind is literally trying to kill you, right? Because the mind feels trapped in the body, on this physical world. It's trapped within the body. So he said, so it's literally trying to become all mind. It's trying to come out of it's not used to being in the state or confined to the state it's in. You know, so he said it wants to expand out. It want to leave out the body. So he said you have to be careful of your mind. You have to mind your mind. He said because it can literally run you to your death. So that's just kind of off that update that she was talking about. He said the same thing for the spirit as well, and use the same example in the vehicle. So, but yeah, that's a good point. It's about time. Any more questions? Ramsey, you got a question? Yeah. Just one question in the front.
All right, when you what you said about, you know, taking away from your life. All right, so is that the adrenaline that's taken away from your life, or is that the mind? Because if that's the mind, therefore, like, thinking about bad experiences could just, like, kill you, basically. Because, like, that's kind of what he's saying. Because, like, when you live it, you think about it.
Right. Well, right. Well, we kind of always giving examples of it can be either or. And that's like what the two, Zamaltek was saying. It could be either or, you know. I mean, it can be just different. It could be the adrenaline, you know, what that's producing. It could be the thought. It can all take away, you know, from your lifespan. You know, everybody has a different lifespan. But, any more questions?
I was looking at a program the other day, and it mentioned that about 368 after death, that the Romans burned the library in Alexandria, Egypt, that contained over 1 million transcripts or scrolls, tablets, our history, science, all of this type of stuff. And it's also said that those same documents were sent to Rome, to the Vatican, and they said on one of the largest ancient libraries of ancient manuscripts in the world. And I know this information that was burned and or sent to Rome is to benefit us, you know, as the descendants of these great people. What you feel about that?
I feel that that's the Mukasu, that's the white man's nature, for him to destroy, to take away from us, you know. But it's not about him. It's about natural nature. And it's about the course where nature is taking us to and what nature wants to happen in its natural cycle. You know, they do this with this. I was talking about this last time I was up here on the stand. They sending our ancestors everywhere. They're not just taking the scrolls, but they're taking the bodies. They want to do DNA testing. They want to see what type of genetics these particular individuals have. They've been desecrating our stuff, you know. But remember, they can't decipher what's written in stones. It's not in their DNA to decipher. Remember Actual Fact 18, tone, sounds, vibration. We use particular stones that only vibrate with us, like the limestones and the granites, the besite stone. Those stones were paramagnetic. They was only able to communicate with us, and they vibrated with our DNA. Right? It vibrated with the tones of the planet Earth. It vibrated with the tones of natural nature and with the tones of your body, FAC. So regardless of what they take away, right, they don't have our secrets. They don't have our technology that we had back then. Because only we can activate that. Because of who and what we are and what's in our DNA. That's why they spend so much time trying to intermix with us. But like I said, natural nature decides. So although they burned millions of scrolls, we all heard it, Library of Alexandria, who did nature produce? Who did nature produce in this day and time to give us 76 trillion years worth of information? So we have to remember that we have a warner, an incarnated being amongst us in this day and time that's here for me and you. We have to acknowledge that. So they can do whatever they want to do, but they can't decipher like he can, because he was there back then. And like he said, I remember he mentioned in an update a while back on Covington, and he was breaking down that scarab. The scarab, like we were just talking about the crest. I couldn't figure out that crest. I couldn't figure it out. Trying to explain it, right? But we was talking about the crest. You see the scarab beetle. And he mentioned, you always see the beetle in ancient times in Egypt, Kefre, right? And that's the transformational power of Re, Kefre, right? And he was mentioning, he said, when the Mukasu, when they look at that symbol, they don't really know how many secrets or within secrets that symbol actually means. This is why he said when you read the hieroglyphs, or the hieroglyphs, right? He said that it can go backwards, forward, up, down, and diagonal. So there's so much symbolism to what's actually written on the walls that's still here that they cannot decipher. So there's a lot of things that's still here, and there's things that's still coming. And we're only going to get that by way of Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, to actually break down some of those secrets, that we'll never get from them. They still trying to figure it out. That's why they're still there. Why are they still there? They still trying to dig up something. They still trying to find something. They are in search of something. They are in search of it. And obviously they haven't found it because they steady dig. They done dig whole cities up in the Fafre Ka. Whole cities. But they want to know, how did they do it? We can't do it now, and we appear to have better technology than they had back then. How did they do it? How did they build the pyramids? How was they able to lift those stones? How? That's the real question. They want to see whether that's on the walls. Because there's nothing that's on the walls that said how they built the pyramids. But the reality of it is that they'll never know because it's a DNA thing. And that's something that they just can't have that we have. Did that answer your question, brother? Well, I know it's more of a comment, more of how I feel about the situation.
Earlier you said, when we was talking about Joseph Smith, he was like, he was like, they killed Joseph Smith because they didn't want polygamy. Who are they? Like, who didn't want Joseph Smith to succeed?
They is his own people. When Paa Nabab Yaanuwn was referring to they killed him. They didn't want him. And he was saying that he was their last savior. They killed him, the Mukasu people.
Why is that? Like, because thousands saved themselves. Why would they kill them?
Because this is in their nature. They're the Mukasu race. Why? That's why they killed. They killed them just like they kill everything else that exists on the planet. It's just in their natural nature to do it. He was just their last savior that came here or that's gonna come here for them. He was their last chance, their last hope that they had doesn't mean that it was going to go well if he still survived. Because natural nature dictates on the cycles. Is that it? No more questions? Power Hat, that's all for coming out for this week's update and lesson classes. And we got a few things that we want to announce. For one thing, right, let's acknowledge, right, Modutat Zaman, which is tomorrow, which is Mother's Day, for all the feminine. Let's acknowledge that. If nobody would be here or exist on the planet, female or male, if the female wasn't here. That's an actual fact.
Actual fact. It is actual fact.
I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it scares me. It really does scare me because really, when you think about it, if females really wanted to, right, they could just be like, we ain't doing nothing, and then all men would just be erased off the planet. That's how much control they really have. If they really decide to come together and say, nah. And we just done. Let me all the boys. And come, we be done. That's how much control they really have that sometimes we have to think about. It's more of them on the planet than us. It's like 20-1. We just outnumbered all the way. That's natural nature right there. So, happy Mother's Day for all the command texts, for all the Wadud tats. Happy Mother's Day. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, there's the Maltec, a Cartec. She's back there signing autograph for the CD, the Lioness. So go cop the album if you don't have it. That's one of our Nuwapian singers, chosen by Paa Nabab Yaanuwn himself. Please support, that's our language. We know how important the language is. Of course, we can smell the food in the back. We can smell the food in the back. And tour. Do we got a chance? Tomorrow. Right, yeah, I was gonna mention that. Right. And like the brother Nubi said, our cultural dance, right, called the Sway, will be here at Papara tomorrow between the hours of 12 p.m. to 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. So for those who don't know it, for those who didn't have a chance to watch the video or have a chance to come to the parade that was in Georgia to learn it, all the instructors will be here. So please come out. It's something that Paa Nabab Yaanuwn wants us to do as a family. Come together. We have to get our culture back. We have to establish. That's something that the Mukasu, when they took the land, when they took Tamaray, because they got all of us fighting each other. That's the reality. It's just us here, and then we just end up fighting each other. When the reality of it is that the Mukasu did this to us. They took our land, right? And with our land had all our spiritual sites on it. If you was a participant in the ancient Egyptian order, then you had certain sites that you used. We did Magaraj around the Black Mare with the Om chant being uttered 24 hours. These are things that we can't forget that they took away from us. Sometimes we forget that so much has been taken away from us. You know, and we have to just remember. We have to remember that. So please come out tomorrow to participate in our cultural dance in Sway. Because we all have to learn it. Any females and males 40 years or older who are interested in becoming an elder on the Supreme Grand Council of 24 Elders, please see Kamtet M. Hathar itinerary at the end of the class. So if any of the elders who are interested, we'll see Kamtet, I think she's in the back. And of course, we got books, actual facts, products. If y'all don't have it, make sure we collect it. I think it's like almost 50, 60 patriarchs out. So, you know, get them while you can. Actual facts are back there. So, like I said again, thank you for coming out. And one more thing, we're gonna go over the schedule before we leave. Here at Paa number 1. Saturday, 2 p.m., Affirmation class. Updates. Okay, let's talk about that. It's not at 2 p.m. We was hoping people would be here at 2 p.m. It seemed like that's not a real reality right now. But we do try to get things started around 4:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30. You know, for the Affirmation class and the update class. A lot of time we kind of wait till people come, but we have to get in the habit of making sure that we're here on time. Sundays, of course, you know, we just mentioned the Sway from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. is the Sway, our cultural dance. From 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. is language class. And 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. is question and answer class. And so anybody who, when we go out propagating, when we're talking to people, and you know they can't make it out on Saturdays, the newcomers, you know, the Whoppings want to come back around, whatever the situation is, remember on Sundays, they're all classes, question and answer class. And there are teachers here that's teaching those classes every Sunday. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., question and answer class. Monday, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., Affirmation study class. And that's, the study class that happens on Monday. Tuesday, from 7 to 9, is Advanced Nuwapic Language class. Thursday, 8:30, is Spiritual Night. Ancient Egyptian order, meditation, pole ritual. And remember, that pole ritual is very important. You know, for those who can make it, male and female, the pole ritual is very important for us to do that. For those who know, normally something is being read on the instructions on how you do it and the importance of it. Friday, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. is movie night. And like last night, it wasn't that much family members here last night. So if you have children and, you know, remember here at Paa Nabab, we do movie night. We show a movie for the children, for the family. So please come out and support. And that's the schedule. And of course, the bookstores is open from 12 to 8 p.m. You're able to come here and buy books, or anybody you know, you can send them here from 12 to 8 p.m. All right?